is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you, faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news in the English language tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Our major stories this evening. Thousands of students across the national territory today began the written session of the General Certificate of Education Examination, the GCE. The examinations kicked off amidst insecurity and also tight security in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, where some students in Bamenda had difficulties getting access to the accommodation centers. We'll tell you how the GCE unfolded in the English-speaking regions of the country in this edition of the news. Plus, the bodies of 3 children who got drowned in the Yoke River in Moyuka, we are in the southwest region, were finally retrieved today. The kids went fishing when they were swept off by high tides that rose in the Yoke River yesterday. We'll tell you what really happened also in this news edition. Viewers, those are our top stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Thousands of students today began the written session of the GC examination across the national territory. Students in Cameroon's conflict-affected northwest region are currently sitting also for that exam, but for many, the journey to the examination hall or the accommodation centers was not a smooth one due to insecurity in parts of the region. Students from remote and volatile areas have had to relocate to safer accommodation centers in town. Our northwest-based correspondent, Stella, compiles the report from Bangui and Wom, all localities and accommodation centers in the northwest region of Cameroon.
These students come from different corners of Momo and Menchum divisions in Cameroon's northwest region. To ensure their safety, authorities have merged several examination centers into larger accommodation centers in the divisional headquarters like Bangui for Momo and Wom for Menchum. Some of these candidates, particularly those traveling from Esu to Wom, faced serious threats. Reports say a group of students were molested and turned back on their way to Wom on June 1st.
Candidates left Esu for Wom, where they will write their exams. Unfortunately, they were disturbed on the way. They were sent back by some unknown fellows. But I want to emphasize here that the students came back, all in their centers, writing the exams.
Transporting examination materials across restive areas has also been a major hurdle. In Wom, some centers, like the Presbyterian High School, faced a shortage of examination materials.
The difficulties that we have this year is that the GC board has supplied very limited material. And so it is pushing the accommodation center now to do a lot of photocopies, which is so expensive for us. And some of the materials have not even come.
Meanwhile, in Bangui, local administrators visited the 2 main accommodation centers to encourage the students and ensure the smooth conduct of the exams.
We have gone to the 2 accommodation centers, and I must say that I am totally satisfied with the conduct of the exams. And the administration on its part have taken all dispositions to ensure the security and safety of our children.
Authorities in the region say the GCE exam are unfolding in a relatively calm atmosphere. Despite the odds, insecurity, displacements, and logistic challenges, these students are pressing on. For them, the GCE is more than just an exam. It is a step towards a better future.
Thank you, Stella. As you saw there in that report, due to security concerns or threats, some students in the northwest region of Cameroon had to get to the accommodation centers in assorted attires. Now we take you down to the southwest region in Muea, where close to 4,000 candidates also began the written session of the GC Ordinary and Advanced Levels exams at accommodation centers of the Government Bilingual High School Muea and Bilingual Grammar School in Moliko in Muea. Muea is hosting students on its campus for the first time since the outbreak of the ongoing armed conflict in the southwest region. Rex Afon in Muea visited both centers and put together this report for the news.
After many years of being away due to fear of the unknown, candidates of the General Certificate of Education at Government Bilingual High School Muea are sitting in for the exam on the campus of their school.
When you are in your own house, you are confident, you are comfortable. So that is how I can describe the students. They are happy. And the general public itself, the Muea population, they are happy to see that their school is back and their children are writing on campus. It gives them a lot of confidence and security.
The 901 candidates who will be writing here for the next 2 weeks may be little concerned about the security situation, but not about the state of the road leading to the campus, especially when it rains. At Bilingual Grammar School Moliko, the first subjects have gone well, but for a few absences.
By 7 o'clock, almost all the candidates were already on campus. Unlike the previous years where at 7:30 you find some outside the gate waiting for Speco. So this time around they were all early. We had only maybe 1 or 2 who came late, and the exam kicked off at exactly 8:00 p.m. Each free.
Some candidates are satisfied with the way they have been writing thus far.
We thought that it was going to be hard, but people were saying that it's going to be hard. It was easy. That it was just there. Although things that I was never expecting to see came, but that's how it always.
Everything I studied came, and I was happy about that. I answered my questions as quickly as I could, so I could have more time to revise them over and over again.
Others are hopeful that the next subjects will be even better.
The exam was not that bad. It was cool. I answered some questions quite well, but some were tricky. But I just hope the papers will be better.
The main challenge this year is the new modalities put in place by the GCE board. Hence, students must be in class latest 7. Those who arrive after 8 will not be allowed into the hall. Considering the nature of the roads in Muea, many candidates may suffer.
Thank you, Rex. From Muea, we move further down to Limbe to meet Davidson Maimo, who tells us that the GCE also kicked off somehow smoothly in the seaside resort town of Limbe with the divisional officer for the Limbe 2 subdivision, said Michael Abel, noting a gradual return to normalcy after visiting some accommodation centers in Limbe.
The divisional officer for Limbe 2 subdivision, Serge Michael Abel, after a tour of examination centers, noted that the pre-crisis atmosphere is gradually returning.
I'm happy that the serenity that we used to have years before have come back. Everybody is there to make sure that the school year is successful. I am so proud of my subdivision.
He attributes this to the impressive turnout of students in uniforms who are sitting for the exams without fear.
They are no more hiding to go to school. They are no more removing their uniform to go to school. It's to give them confidence of security. That's the first security disposition. There is no more security challenges. They themselves, they feel secure in their various quartiers.
At Government Bilingual Technical High School in Sokolo, the principal, Madam Chi Josephine, confirms.
So far, no threats. We are very, very secured. And on campus, to reinforce this confidence, we have the police, we have the gendarmes, the military down on campus, and we also have our main security persons in school.
Meanwhile, in Limbe 1 subdivision, Government High School Limbe Center, hosting 1,184 students, the story was not indifferent, except for a minor incident of a student experiencing menstrual cramps. The principal, Madam Kalesinge, says such incidents are normal during exams.
Most of them are expecting to see questions that they know, and any child who does not see what he or she expects will be frightened, and this can even lead to those menstrual cramps. And we're ready because we have pads, we have drugs, we have a school nurse, we have an infirmary.
All measures are in place for hitch-free exam.
I'm sick, and I was being permitted by the invigilators to come and pull over to enter the hall, and I was well searched before entering the hall.
The 2024-2025 GC examination kicked off in Limbe, hitch-free.
Thanks, Davidson. Let's now listen to the impression of some students after writing the first subjects today in Limbe.
What we have studied back to the paper and submit our exams. I just pray for success of the exam, not only for myself, but for both my classmates and all others.
When for the technical DCE, and the first day, though it was tough, but I tried, and then I definitely know that I'm going to pass. Not only me, but the whole of my class.
I can't really say, but it's really tough though, but I believe we're going to make it.
So at least majority of the stuff were there. So it was not bad.
It was hard or cheap, but I believe if you have been studying for the past 9 months, you will definitely make it.
Well, we wish all the GCE candidates good luck. Now we talk something else. The state prosecutor of the court of first instance in Fo, we are now in the Central region, has ordered that Saint Desiree Atango should be taken back to the Gendarmerie Region office in Yaound. The state prosecutor says he is acting upon the Article 360 of the Penal Code of the country. Samandi Kangebro tells us more about the man who has been sexually assaulting or has been having sexual intercourse with his daughters.
Dressed up in red with a 10-liter gallon water in his hands, Saint Atango Desi disguised himself as he made his way into the court of first instance in Mfu, Yaound. After his arrival, while waiting, Saint Desi Atango was placed under detention. He tried getting to some lawyers around, but all declined his request until his lawyers arrived at the courtyard in Mfu from Yaound. The final decision from the State Council is either a U-turn for Saint Desi Atango, which implies he is to be taken back to the Gendarmerie Region office in the center, since according to Article 360 of the Penal Code of Cameroon, it states incest is committed between an elder and a younger person. This means the daughters of Saint Desi Atango will have to come to the State Council of Mfu to speak out for themselves. The same article gives right that any further investigation could be done if an official complaint has been dropped by any of the parents. Affair Swift.
And now to this other lead story, though in brief, the bodies of some 3 girls that went missing at the Yoke River in Muea, we are in the southwest region, have been retrieved from the river. Reports say the 3 girls went to the stream to wash dresses when they were suddenly swept off or they disappeared. The search of the 3, which began on Monday, led to the discovery of 2 of the bodies, and the third, which was the eldest among the 3, was also retrieved from the Yoke River. That was earlier today. For now, no one in Yoke can tell us about what actually happened to the 3 children. We will be telling you more. That would be in our subsequent news editions. Now we take you back to the news-making political rally of Professor Maurice Kamto in Paris, France. The accusing finger pointing to Professor Maurice Kamto over allegations of preparing young people to get killed in pre- or post-election violence has been turned towards the accuser. Cameroonian film director Jean-Pierre Bekolo says those accusing Professor Kamto are the ones plotting the death of young Cameroonians instead via police repression. Greater details of the write-up published by Jean-Pierre Bekolo with Babila Jonathan.
Following his May 31st rally at Place de la République in Paris, Professor Maurice Kamto is accused of wanting to send young people to die in the streets for him to be president of the Republic. But to Cameroonian film director Jean-Pierre Bekolo, marching in the street doesn't kill except in the case of an accident. So he puts forth the question, what accident awaits the young people whom Kamto is calling on to liberate their country in the 2025 presidential election? He says it's not the act of protesting that will kill here. It's not the ideas for which they are protesting that kill.
Let's be honest, those who talk about sending young people to die need to rephrase things correctly. They should say this: if you dare to march as Kamto asks you to, we will send other young people, armed, whom we have trained and paid to shoot you with live ammunition, and you will die. In other words, we will kill you if you march to put Kamto in Etudzi.
Asked what kills, he said,
what's killing here are the regime's bullets. What's killing is the political decision to crush the citizens' expression of change in blood. So, if we must talk about deaths, let those who give the order to shoot have the courage to take responsibility, because it's not calls for freedom that program death, but those who respond to them with armed violence. So, if young people die tomorrow while marching peacefully in the streets of Yaound, Douala, Garoua, Bafoussam, it won't be because they followed Kamto. It will be because the regime in power has decided to oppose them with trained and armed forces to kill them. This is the truth that must be told.
Jean-Pierre Bekolo adds that this year, everyone must take his or her responsibility.
And in Douala recently, traffic has really been dense in the economic capital, going from Bonamusadi to Aqua through Rompo or Feurouge now takes several hours. Our reporter Innocent Azena tells us what the problem really is.
Since Monday, it's not been easy circulating in the cosmopolitan city of Douala. This has hindered commuters from going to their job sites and also economic operators from carrying out their activities flexibly.
Now, almost 3 hours were there inside traffic. Yesterday been at the same. Since last week, as late and they go, it was they go.
6 months time I did for outside, they for Bonaberi. So now I did for road. I don't make say 5 hours for here. 6 I did for yourself.
We are suffering actually for the traffic.
At the tunnel around Rompoint, Daido, traffic jam is intense. We spoke to some commuters who told us that this is as a result of ongoing roadworks at the level of the Sandaga market.
They work for Sandaga market for that side for where they go market.
At the other side, I want you to tell me so the picture road for beach. 6 I did for the road fair. I don't know what to make up for here.
That is why most of people are coming past this way.
Apart from the ongoing roadworks at the level of the Sandaga market, we've also learned from commuters that the deplorable state of roads in the cosmopolitan city of Douala is a contributing factor.
The other side for Fitek and go so the road too spoil for them. I'm so all road them bad for all the two sides them. Now only the way of Fitek. Where if that side them the pass, we don't forget the kind of situation.
We are currently on the new bridge over the Wuru River. Circulation is paralyzed. The old bridge over the Wuru River is this the same situation due to the deplorable states of the road.
That old bridge don't worse. Because some big pothole then there for that side way for cross I'm no day. It's motor then go tight for inside there. No way no day. Even bike them no is succeed for pass for day. Now whatever all man they come take na the way so. Then now before thing where they happen I will this year so.
That's a situation in the city of Douala. Most of the points we've visited, circulation paralyzed as a result of ongoing roadworks around the Sandaga market and security forces battling to control the situation. Innocent as Ube Michel Kamini, Fiofi Chunko reporting for Equinoxe television.
Thank you so much, Innocent Eze, and hopefully the works are done rapidly so circulation can resume normally. And viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Let's now move on to Talking Point. Welcome back, viewers. It's not over yet. We continue with echoes of the Paris rally of Professor Maurice Kamto in France that was last weekend. And our guest tonight is a civil society actor, NJI Lucas. NJI Lucas, thank you so much for being our guest today. Now, the head of the CRM opposition party was in Paris. That was over the weekend, we all know, for a gigantic or mega rally with sympathizers and militants of the CRM political party. Since the meeting, which was usually attended, we have had some reactions from CPDM militants trying to, let me say, downplay the attendance in Paris. Can we say those of the ruling party are agitating, and what can be the reason for those agitations?
Nabila, it's a pleasure being on Equinoxe this evening on Talking Point. It is rather unfortunate that what the CRM considered to be a mega rally is becoming a problem to the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, that is the CPDM party. Whatever is the reason, I think only the party militants and the bigwigs like Gregoire Owona should know better. Why the gesticulations and why the agitations with regards to what Maurice Kamto said in France? I would rather say that though I am not a militant of the CRM party, as an active member of the Cameroon civil society and one who is very poised towards seeing everyone going to Eleka for registration of elections, what the CRM considers to be a mega rally in France is not a bad idea. It is coming on the heels of several things and several barriers they have experienced in the country in terms of having their rallies, which of course we should admit one fact, that rallies in Cameroon is indeed a problem. I want to look at some of the things mentioned by Minister Gregoire Owona and the minister delegates in the Ministry of Justice in the person of Jean-Didier Momo, who also is among those who call themselves the presidential majority, a handful of some opposition parties that are indeed in alliance with the CPDM party. Gregoire Owona thinks that Maurice Kamto said a couple of things that are not founded. He thinks that Maurice Kamto rather preferred a white to be his bodyguard, and said Maurice Kamto said a lot of things out of proportion. But I want to ask a question. Why the gesticulations? Why the agitation? Why the worrying posture by a top militant of the CPDM party? Of course, it should be recalled that it is the same Gregoire Owona whom in time past made a couple of statements when the head of state stayed for long without appearing in public. So it would appear it is some presentation of someone.
And now, NJI Lucas, can we say that translates clearly the fact that as elections approach in Cameroon, the CPDM sees Professor Kamto and the CRM party as their greatest adversary? Thus, they are threatened by the crowd he is already pulling.
What Jean-Didier Momo said. According to Jean-Didier Momo, it was better that someone like Frank Olivier Emmanuel Biya, who is often referred to as Frank Biya, becomes someone to protect Mr. Biya, the President of the Republic. According to what he said, that if the head of state needed protection, then he would rather prefer, they would prefer that Frank Olivier Emmanuel Biya should be the one. Then I said somewhere that this is a statement of a startling revelation. It is a startling revelation because at the end of the day, the plan they have actually been hashing, it is indeed coming to the public. But why should it be Jean-Didier Momo? Why do they consider the things Maurice Kamto said to be lies? Why would they think that the rally held in France means nothing to Cameroonians? Of course, it does mean a lot. He is one of the fearful opposition party candidates. And as per 2018 presidential elections, Maurice Kamto and the CRM political party is the second in terms of placement. That is, if you know that someone is directly behind you, you are afraid of that person. So this is to the people who have always thought that the CPDM is untouchable. You can clearly see. Now, what Minister Gregoire Owona and Jean-Didier Momo, they are trying to do is that they want to present to the public that Maurice Kamto and his gang failed, that they could not indeed do that. But they held that rally in France for one reason. Why? In Cameroon, we have observed how difficult it is for opposition parties to have their rallies within the country. This is because the CPDM party, whose ministers are at the helm, the duos are there, they make things unnecessarily very difficult for people to why not?
Now, NJI Lucas, let's look at some blockades that opposition parties usually have, especially the CRM, whenever they intend organizing a meeting. Professor Maurice has successfully organized a mega meeting in Paris, hitch-free. That is not disputed. But in Cameroon, the CRM is always blocked whenever they have a gathering. How can this be explained in a country we claim respects democratic principles?
It's indeed quite funny when we look at the situation that happened in Paris, in the sense that we understand why it was successful in Paris. It was successful in Paris because Maurice Kamto successfully met Cameroonians who have the desire to transform the country through the ballot box out of the country, who could not be pepper sprayed, who could not have actually been washed with water cannons, who could not have actually been arrested and possibly taken to Limbe, Kondengi, and other related detention facilities within the country. This is the reason why Professor Maurice Kamto had to, at the end of the day, and had his grand rally held in Paris, in France. Another reason is that the Cameroonians who are out there, especially in France, constitutes the majority. It would appear for his party. It should be made known also that Professor Maurice Kamto has a great following over there, which I think it is the reason why the rally was successful in Paris. But such cannot be held in Cameroon. Why?
Before we go into Lucas, now what can be some of the direct or indirect fallouts of the rally in France organized by the CRM?
Come on, you and I know this very well, Anne, that the fallout are enormous in the sense that now Cameroonians have also seen that no matter what, but I have an issue. One, I don't know if most of the people who came out also have registered for elections. Two, I don't know if these people at the end of the day would vote where they are, because previously we heard that some had issues with the Cameroon embassy where they went to conduct their vote or where they went to cast their ballot. So there is the possibility. So my concern right now would be, if the crowd that we did see has registered for elections, good. If these people vote at the end of the day, good. If the administrators, the Cameroon embassy in France, and many other European countries or the West in general would not indeed put up measures that will cause some people to feel, fed out with the entire system and they will not vote, it will mean a lot. And this will also come to help many other opposition parties that something good is happening. Barrister Akeremona did this, though he did not pull that crowd, when he defied the order of the divisional officer of that particular area that he should not come in, but he went in and had what he needed at the end of the day. So it is very obvious that it will go a long way in building confidence in Cameroonians.
Thank you so much, NJI Lucas. You were talking to us from Muea, and hope to have you some other time, sir. Viewers, we thank you so much for always being with us. That's what we put together for you this evening on the news, and you stay with us as our programs continue. Equinoxe comes up in about 30 minutes with Sagaleng, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Bethbisai. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television, and bye for now. See you again tomorrow, same time, God willing.